Hello, vinyl community, music lovers. Happy Sunday. Today is Super Bowl Sunday. I don't have no way of watching it, but that's cool. I'll just keep checking the score as much as I can. Now, this video is not about the Super Bowl. This video is about my contest entry to Robert over at Robert on my Turntable. And a few things I want to say about Robert is that he has been a very good friend and supporter of my channel. He's participated in a lot of my contests. He has a really good channel. I can tell that he prepares, and for each video that he makes, he really, does really good videos about bands that we should listen to, which is a good series to check out. I think the last few, one of them is on April Wine, and I think another one that's coming up is on Bebop Deluxe and Budgie. But I will leave a link to his channel. Go over there, check him out, give him a sub, please. And hear a lot of great content. That's the word I was looking for. You could tell that he prepares his video and gives a lot of great content. I've known him for quite a while. I don't know how many years, but I do remember when he first started making videos. And so, folks, this is my contest entry into his contest, getting up to 1,000 subscribers. I support that. 5 albums that either influenced us or had an impact on our lives. So that was really tough. And at the end of my video, I'll mention a few runner-ups. Okay. But first of all, the first time I want to talk about that, and before I begin, when I first started getting into records and music and bands and groups and artists, somehow all the music that I listen to, that I enjoy, I love and I enjoy. And sometimes there's a connection, even though it might be classical, jazz, rock, blues, country. Somehow they make a connection. So let me begin with this album. This has been called 2 different titles as far as I know as a kid. This is the Beatles, sometimes called the Beatles Again, or my copy says Hey Jude, which I refer to this album, Hey Jude, Jude's Greatest Hits. This was my first record that I got as a kid. My mom bought me this record for my birthday. And I was so excited. Although when I first saw the cover and I saw the Beatles with mustache and beards and long hair, I almost thought she made a mistake. And let me explain real quickly why. Because I thought when I was watching those Beatle cartoons as a kid that the Beatles still looked like that. And then my mom explained to me and said, no, they broke up the year you were born. So I said, okay. Then it put it in a perspective. And at that time, I did not know that the songs on this album were from different periods of the Beatles, like the later and some earlier Beatles songs. But I still enjoyed the record. And yes, this album led me to listen to other British rock bands, Rolling Stones, The Who, The Kinks, Dave Clark 5, the list goes on. The Easy Beats, which I think was a much later group at the tail end of the British invasion. But anyway, I do like the way the songs are put in this order. I Should Have Known Better then goes into Paperback Writer, Rain, Lady Madonna, and Revolution. I've still enjoyed this record, and it still visits my turntable, and it had a great impact on me getting my first album, seeing artwork, seeing a really cool Apple label on there too as well, and led me to my all-time favorite Beatles song, which is on this record, Paperback Writer is my favorite Beatles song of all time. But then, you hear a song too like Rain, and you get a little bit of that 60s psychish kind of vibe to it. Love that song as well too. It's probably my second favorite on there. Now the second album, I have to say as a kid, this was my first blind buy. I didn't know there was a term for that till years later I joined the vinyl community and that term came up, blind buy. So this was my very first blind buy as a kid. My grandmother bought me this album. Now this ain't the original that she bought me. This is a reissue and it sounds awesome. But this is Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon. And first, when I first saw it, it didn't have this hype sticker like this reissue did. It was just this. And every time I went into that store, which was back then kind of like a store like Walmart, but it was called Gibson's, I kept seeing this record. $5.99 was the price, I remember. Every time. And it was kind of heavy. And I'll explain what I think it gave it some weight. But one day, my grandmother wanted to buy me a treat for helping her around the house. And I asked her to buy me this album. Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Floyd, didn't know anything about it. I didn't even read the spine of it. Got it home. And man, did it really open my senses. My ears were open to new sounds and new things that could be done in music. With a great band like Pink Floyd, bringing rock, blues, all kinds of different elements to this record. Even the On the Run, hearing that for the first time, I was thinking, how are they doing that on instruments? And the song with the great vocalist that just kind of sounds like a timeless piece of music, The Great Gig in the Sky, Time. This record right here, I will say, for me, has songs that are just timeless. So this was my first blind buy as a kid, and it had a big influence on me. It opened the doors to wanting to hear more Pink Floyd records, because I thought this was their first album as a kid or a youngster, and that the second one was Wish You Were Here and Animals and The Wall. It wasn't until I got into about junior high or so when a teacher's that was a Pink Floyd fan, and I was talking about them, mentioned, oh no, they have earlier albums with another guy that was in the band way before David Gilmour, and that's Syd Barrett. So I went and got those records as well too, and fell in love with all those albums. So this led me to more music, that music that could like lead you into different rabbit holes on your music journey. Got me into more prog and hard rock as well. There was one song that when I turned it over and I played it on side 2, I did recognize that song, and that's Money, with that killer saxophone and that killer lead guitar part. Third album, my all-time favorite band of all time, The Who. This is the album, The Who Sell Out. This album right here, when I heard this, also blew my socks off. It really did. It was like a concept album. Maybe it is. I don't know. What I like what this album does, it had all these little mini commercials in between the tracks, in which I think what this record was trying to do, if I understand it right, was trying to have a vibe like if you were listening to it through a pirate radio station or something, or the signal was coming off of ships or something like that going on in England and London. But the Who captured that. They put you in this period of like just being at the radio, hooked on those little commercial jingles, and then just hearing the first song, Al Maria or something like that, In the Sky. First time I really heard some psych. That song is mind-blowing. And of course, My favorite song on here, I Can See for Miles. And also on that song, what I like is that guitar solo, where it is one of the shortest guitar solos. It shows that not all songs need to have this really long guitar solo. What is done in here works perfectly and gets you right back into the verses and the music of that song. I highly recommend this album, and if you have any way to listen to it for free, check it out. But this album is an album that had a big influence in my life and my music experience, and I'll say it again, and my journey of music. Fourth album. You wanted the best, you got the best. That's right. Kiss, Destroyer. That's right. As a youngster, my first Kiss album, I remember, first of all, my grandparents, when I lived with them, bought me my Kiss record. So that first one they bought me was Alive. This was the second one, Kiss Destroyer. I love this record. Now, I don't know if there's any kind of concept idea going on here, but at this time, Kiss were working with producer Bob Ezrin. He brought some ideas to the table, and you can tell with songs like Great Expectations and even The God of Thunder, that just sounds like something from I'll just say from the pits of darkness or something. That song was heavy and rock. A song I didn't really want my grandparents hearing me play, so I kind of would keep that track turned down. But the way this album starts off, like kind of like a concept idea, if you listen to it closely, it starts off somebody listening to the radio, and then it kicks into these morning listening. You hear them get in their vehicle, they turn on the radio, and here comes Detroit Rock City, which is a killer track, great heavy rock song. My two favorite songs on this album are Detroit Rock City and King of the Nighttime World. There you go, folks. Album number 4, big influence in my life. Led me to listen to more hard rock bands. Also gave that impression on me that rock, you can expound the boundaries of it. Like I said, Great Expectations is kind of a song on there that doesn't seem like it fits, but it goes well in there. It goes very good with the rest of the tracks. Now the 5th album, and big influence. I'm a big fan of the Moody Blues. This is Days of Future Past. Now, when I first heard the Moody Blues, was the song Go Now, which was a big radio hit. And the Moody Blues in that first formation were a lot different. They were more of a blues rock band, that British blues style. Really good record though. Their first album, really good. Go Now is not the only good song. There's another song on there called From the Bottom of My Heart, and I don't remember every one of them. I don't even own the record at the moment, but I remember liking it. Now, when this one came out, you talk about a giant leap over the hills. This album is totally, totally different. And it is a concept idea. It's like all in one day, from the morning to the night. I love what this record does. This record opened the doors to me as well as going into more classical, because this album is very has an orchestra, and I love the orchestrations on it that are done. They go well right into each of the tracks. It does have a theme. It's like all in a day, from morning, noon to night. And like I said, it's very different from their album. This album really impressed me, especially the way it sounds with headphones. 3 of my favorite songs, and I love the way that the Moody Blues when they do a rock song, they make it their rock style sound to it. They had worked with really good producer. I don't remember the one on this one right now, But I love that little poem at the end of Nights in White Satin. But Peak Hour, that's a good rocker. Good, makes your feet stomp. Tuesday Afternoon, I never get tired of that. And of course it ends with the epic piece, Breathe Deep, The Gathering Gloom. You know where I'm going, folks. Nights in White Satin is on my best songs, on my best, 100 songs of all time with ProgHat. Nights in White Satin is on there and will always be on that list. It is a really good song. I love everything about it. I like that this album, the atmosphere that it gives me, it just reminds me of growing up. I can't complain. I was raised by great parents, great grandparents, and so hearing these songs just put me in a lot of good memories. Remind me of a lot of good places and people I met and places that I visited growing up. But anyway, these records had a big impact. Now, I didn't finish when I was saying earlier about the Dark Side of the Moon. What made it kind of have a little bit weight was when I got it home and I opened it. The album came with 2 posters and some postcards, so it kind of had a little bit of weight. So it was like bonus, you know, to get an album with posters and those cool postcards. And there were some few honorable mentions. I'll just mention 3. Like an album that was another one that was a big impact on me was Bob Dylan's album Blood on the Tracks. Neil Young's very first album. Oh man, I still love that record. Van Halen 2 was like one of the first records I got of Van Halen, and it's like maybe the second time I got a record on my birthday. Someone gave that to me. And what else was there? The Kinks' Face to Face. I love that record. There was Yes, Fragile. I love that. When I first heard that song Roundabout, I was like, I need the whole album. I don't want just the single or the. So my mom, I remember her buying that for me on cassette. Well, there it is, folks. I went longer than I wanted to. My contest entry to Robert's on my turntable. Go check them out. Give them a sub. Thank y'all, everyone, for checking out my video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care and have a great Sunday.